of this show do not necessarily reflect those of the staff or management of Radio Hotties. The content broadcast on this show is meant for informational and entertainment purposes only.
Top of the morning, Bay, with Good Morning Bay.
Get to know about the traffic on your way and what's news around the world today.
Some wisdom skills along the way.
Oh, and a song to hum along with and sway.
Get your perfect entertaining start to the day.
At 9 a.m. every weekday morning with
Mahima's
Good Morning Bay.
आप सभी लोग हमारे तरफ से एक प्यार भरा नमस्ते
नमस्कार
वणक्कम
नमस्कार
खुशामदी
अस्सलामुअलैकुम
सत श्री अकाल
एकांतरिकी वंदनम
जय स्वामी नारायण
जय श्री कृष्ण
जय जिनेंद्र
मैं सारे भाई बंधुओं को बोल दे या अली मदद
बोला अली मदद बोलते हैं सारे फीजे मंडल बोलेंगे नीसा बोला बनजन हम आ गए हैं आपके प्यारे महिमा के द्वारे मैं सिर्फ आलतू बाबा
एंड ऑफ कोर्स माय सेल्फ आलतू रानी लेकर आपके लिए एक और ड्राइव टाइम दैट्स गोना मेक इट टोटली एक्साइटिंग एंड टोटली मस्तानी बंदुजानी
That's right, Banjan. Of course, right now, let's quickly, I'll tell you what, already this particular year, 2022, it is flying so fast. My goodness, you won't believe it. You know, already is the half month is over.
यस इट्स द
जनवरी का पहला मंथ का आधा हिस्सा खत्म हो गया. मतलब लोहड़ी आ गई बंजान, लोहड़ी आ गए, संक्रांति क्या बोलते हैं उसको, पोंगल आ गई.
पोंगल कल है ना या आज है?
आज नहीं, कल है.
14th.
ऑफ कोर्स जब पोंगल कल बोलेंगे, लेकिन आज आप सभी लोगों को बोलेंगे कि यार oh my god, 2 weeks just flew away. Well, with this traffic like this on the roads, you don't know how traffic is, right? So here you go, बजट हफ्ते का हाल आप लोगों को सस्ते में.
It's time for the Bandu Traffic Update. Call us from wherever you are at 408-912-2479.
I don't blame the year going really fast because the freeways are free. मतलब ट्रैफिक कुछ नहीं है बंजान, मैं मजाक नहीं कर रहा हूँ आप लोगों को.
Really?
Yeah, of course, a little bit of here and there, इधर उधर तो चलता रहता है, right? Like for instance, exit के पास, because of an accident. Like for instance, there's one right now, an accident with unfortunate injuries, because of and also an overturned vehicle. So it's a huge thing. It's on the exit actually, 227 के आसपास में, Lawrence Expressway exit में. Probably the person missed a particular thing, or slipped or whatever it is. I hope they are safe, but they're reporting injuries there. No fatalities though, so that's one thing good. Freeways are looking empty, as in there's no congestion anywhere for the matter, Banjan, excepting different places in Sandwich को तो of course आपको मालूम है होता ही है. Daly City में थोड़ा बहुत वहाँ पे congestion है near the Washington Street in Daly City. Watch out for that. On the bridge near the Treasure Islands exit, which actually is a very problematic thing over there. As you know, वहाँ पे stuck हो गए तो pretty much you are stuck there. But there's somebody who has a disabled vehicle over there, and that's what's reported. So watch out, drive very carefully. Stop and go traffic हो रही है because of the disabled vehicle, but it's not it's blocked. It's actually moving. Traffic is moving. Now that's all we have in terms of traffic at Banjan. So watch out for that. But also, there is an emergency road closure I want to report to you guys on 280 northbound, southbound near the Guadalupe Parkway. All lanes are closed. Avoid that area if possible. I don't have much information as why and what's happening there. The entire road is being blocked off. Probably for construction purposes. And that's why you have a bottleneck over there, which is actually... Well, it doesn't, even the road closure there's no bottleneck as such. That's a good thing, right? You know, there's no traffic, but they expect to be traffic because the road closure is there. Alternate routes have been advised. Construction is going on. I told you, right? When COVID strikes, always the construction work increases because people can get work done faster. All right, so that's the traffic update for you guys. Weather update क्या बता आपको? कल तो sunny था, लेकिन आज cloudy है यार. My goodness, cloudy everywhere. You won't believe it. Okay, but that's your update on traffic. Now a quick look at what's happening with the news. Faltrani is ready with that for you, for our bandhus. So here you go, Baljan. This is what's coming up as news nowadays in America. क्या हुआ? Wait करिए.
Top Senate Republicans one Senate Republican at least, Mitch McConnell, is blasting President Joe Biden.
What?
Why? Because Joe Biden is pushing for the voting rights bill, underscoring the difficulty that Biden's Democrats are facing in trying to steer legislation through a Congress that they very narrowly control. Biden has called for Democrats to jettison the chamber's long-standing filibuster rule, requiring 60 of the 100 senators to agree to advance most legislation, a move that McConnell said would irreparably damage the Senate.
I don't know. Did you get a chance to listen to his totally excited speech?
Oh, Mitch McConnell an exciter?
No! Joe Biden's speech, 520.
Yeah, of course I did.
Oh my god, he was like totally frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely.
I've not seen that side of Joe Biden.
Well,
He did anger management skills.
no, it's about time somebody needs to take action, because all that they're doing, right now the filibuster doesn't even require them to be present in the chamber. They could just decide not to do anything. Not to show up.
And Balujan, they do.
Yeah, that's what they've been doing, and they've been stalling. They did everything that possible during the
To kill
time.
democracy, Balujan. Yes, unfortunately, that's the thing. I'm saying it. Nobody's saying it. I'm saying it. They're killing democracy, Balujan, because that's what actually democracy dies to death. When actually one particular party wants to have majority.
And the worst part is Mitch McConnell steps up and says the president's rant, okay, when he's talking about defending voting rights, okay? He says the rant yesterday was incoherent, incorrect, and beneath his office. McConnell said on the Senate floor, referring to Biden's speech in Atlanta on Tuesday, in which he appealed for voting rights legislation.
That's right. Sedition is okay. When his particular buddy Trump did that thing year before last year, that was okay for him. Huh?
Yeah.
My God, Mitchie, what is this? What did he gave a good name for him? What did he give him a name? I think Trump gave him a name, right? Something Mitchie, right? Some Mitchie.
I don't know.
Mitchie Mouse?
But he's got a something that rhymes with Mitch Trump's.
Mitch the Dash, okay.
Yeah. So anyway,
Hey, we said it, okay.
Yeah, McConnell accused the president of giving, quote, a deliberately divisive speech that was designed to pull our country further apart, unquote. White House Press Secretary Jan Psaki told reporters that the administration was disappointed by McConnell's opposition to the bill. It's even more disappointing that someone who has supported and advocated for voting rights in the past is now on the other side of this argument, Psaki said. Biden even plans to make a personal plea to Senate Democrats on Thursday, urging them to agree on changing or eliminating the filibuster so they can pass the voting rights bill. The good news is that the House has actually passed the bill. It passes in the House, but what the fate of this bill is going to be in the Senate, which is so narrowly divided, is still unclear. The bill is a maneuver by Democrats in which the House repackaged and passed the two elections-related bills as one, sending it to the Senate under a special procedure, preventing Republicans from blocking debate. This bill was approved along party lines and will now move to the Senate. In other news with regard to what's happening in the House, Binjan, the U.S. House panel is seeking testimony from Republican leader about the Jan 6th Capitol attack. U.S. Congressional Committee investigating the deadly Jan 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol asked House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy on Wednesday to voluntarily answer questions about Donald Trump's actions on the day of the riot. In a letter to McCarthy released publicly, the House of Reps Select Committee requested that he sit for an interview in early February. McCarthy later issued a written statement saying that he would not cooperate with what he described as an illegitimate committee. As a representative and the leader of the minority party, it is with neither regret nor satisfaction that I have concluded to not participate in this select committee's abuse of power that stains this institution today and will harm it going forward, McCarthy said in a statement. The committee is trying to establish Trump's actions while thousands of his supporters attacked police, vandalized the Capitol, and sent members of Congress and then Vice President Mike Pence running for their lives. The committee met virtually with Trump's former White House spokesperson, Kayleigh McEnany, on Wednesday, according to a source familiar with the meeting. We must also learn about how The president's plans for Jan 6 came together, and all the other ways he attempted to alter the results of the election, the Select Committee's chairman, Representative Benny Thompson, said in a letter to McCarthy. In update on the Omicron, Bandajan, let me tell you, as Omicron cases drive hospitalizations and COVID cases to new highs, some states' healthcare systems are struggling to handle the surge. 4 states have less than 10% remaining capacity in their ICUs, according to data released on Wednesday by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and 5 other states are close to just 10% of the ICU capacity remaining. Nationally, COVID-19 hospitalizations have reached record highs, with at least 151,261 Americans needing care as of yesterday. Separately, Joe Biden is expected to deliver remarks today announcing the deployment of a new wave of military medical teams to help hospitals in 6 states. So President Joe Biden is sending out, 1,000 military healthcare workers, Bandajan, and he's going to make masks free for everyone. He's going to have a whole bunch of masks that are going to be issued as well to be able to combat this. Also, President Joe Biden has directed the United States to procure 500 million more COVID tests to meet this particular demand, especially with the spread of the Omicron variant across the country. The order comes on top of another 500 million tests that the White House pledged before the Christmas holiday would be available to Americans this month. And let's also tell you that of the 1,000 military health workers that are being sent out, Bandajan, this is just part of a major deployment of the nation's armed forces to help hospitals across the country to manage the surge of the Omicron virus. And Biden says that, I know we're all frustrated as we enter this new year, reiterating his message that COVID-19 continues to be a pandemic of the unvaccinated. But in the meanwhile, guess what locally our very own Governor Gavin Newsom is saying? Well, Governor Gavin Newsom is saying just a few more weeks, and he forecasts the end to the pandemic in the near future. Despite soaring Omicron rates and record hospitalizations, Governor Gavin Newsom is forecasting an end to the pandemic in the very near future. He's perhaps being overly optimistic, but one of the most respected infectious disease experts in the nation agrees with him. We're gonna get through this, just hang in there for a few more weeks, is what Newsom said. He made those remarks one day after California set an all-time high with more than 143,000 new cases, and on the same day the state set the all-time 7-day positivity rate at 23%. Preparing for not the pandemic phase of this reality, but the endemic phase of this reality, Newsom said, how to be and how we live with future variants. U.S. infectious disease specialist Dr. Monica Gandhi agreed with Governor Newsom. She said, in the endemic stage, you treat the virus like you treat the influenza. We don't try to test, contact trace, or mask ourselves out of it. It's really that we treat it with vaccines, which we hope everyone will get. And if we need treatment for the unvaccinated or those with severe breakthroughs, we use treatment. But life basically goes back to normal, is what she said. High vaccination rates and lots of natural immunity from the rapidly spreading Omicron have likely provided protection from whatever variant is going to come next, is what she said. In other local news, let's tell you, Vanajan, that one particular San Francisco man was stranded overseas after a huge visa renewal process delay. A trip to Europe turned into a nightmare for a Bay Area couple who are anxious to be reunited after their baby arrives in February. During a visit to a U.S. consulate in Frankfurt, Germany, Rahul Datta said he got word that processing his visa application to re-enter the United States was delayed. Towards the end, I was literally crying every day. It was hard because I knew he wouldn't be back with me on the flight, said Ankita Datta, Rahul's wife, and I didn't know how I was going to manage stuff once I come back home. Now Ankita is back in San Francisco while Rahul is in Germany, where he's still waiting for his visa renewal. During the pandemic, many legal US residents like Rahul Datta have had to wait through the uncertainty of travel bans and restrictions. Throughout the year, he said that he had been trying to renew his residency status. Rahul Datta said he was happy when the US consulate in Frankfurt had an appointment, but ever since then, he hasn't heard much. So they've also reached out to House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's office for help, is what is the latest that we're hearing. Nurses across the Bay Area are planning to demonstrate at 9 Bay Area hospitals today to demand safer working conditions from the hospital industry. The union action planned by California Nurses Association and Caregiver Healthcare Employees Union will also condemn the decision announced Saturday by the California Department of Public Health, letting asymptomatic workers who test positive to return to work immediately without isolation or testing. And actions are planned at various times at several different hospitals, from UCSF to Marin Health Medical Center to Sutter Delta Medical Center to Good Sam Hospital in San Jose, all over the even Regional Medical Center in San Jose. And finally, in some sad news, a church pantry. For the past 4 days, a church food pantry in San Jose that feeds about 1,000 people every day has been forced to shut down because of a city permitting issue. The farmers' market-style pantry was closed Wednesday, and people who showed up needing food were turned away. Typically, 6 days a week, there would be a long line in front of Lighthouse Ministries food pantry in San Jose. 1,000 people a day select from fresh packaged foods on table and bins, and this is at the corner of 17th and Julian Streets. Rocky Mauricio visits this pantry nearly every day. It's helping the community, it's helping me, is what he said. But this week he couldn't get this because this pantry is shut down. Pastor Ralph almost said he was forced to shut down the outdoor pantry after the city sent him a letter telling him to immediately stop operating because he didn't have a special use permit.
Wow.
Yeah. So even when people are trying to do good, I guess certain things.
No good deed goes unpunished, Father. That's what Jesus told us.
Correct.
Yeah, what happened? Jesus came and did good, right? What happened? What did we finally do with him?
I guess so.
Sad to say that. But anyway, that was your news update for guys. We'll get back to you. Oh, but you know, Father, you should just go ahead and do the news.
No,
what's happening around the
I
world.
think we can give the Ganika Kira.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, but we've gone on Gane Kira because a little bit of reprieve for you guys from all the mundane stuff about the news, Bhajan. You know, don't worry about all those things, Bhajan. Jo karna karo. Baki sab jo hai na, rab pe chhod do. Wo kar lega. He'll take care of it, Bhajan. A song for you from the movie
थॉमस एडिसन की थ्योरी को याद कर
Lucknow Central. Music by Tanish Bagchi.
अरे थॉमस एडिसन की थ्योरी को याद कर बल्ब जगा दिमाग का टाइम ना बर्बाद कर थॉमस एडिसन की थ्योरी को याद कर बल्ब जगा दिमाग का टाइम ना बर्बाद कर ये फार्मूला भाई करता जा तू ट्राई ये फार्मूला भाई करता जा तू ट्राई पॉजिटिव टूटे दिल के पुर्जे पुर्जे जोड़ के पुर्जे पुर्जे जोड़ के पुर्जे पुर्जे जोड़ के फिकर भुला के डांस कर बाकी रप्पे छोड़ दे
Brajesh Shandilya ki awaaz Bhajan, along with a little bit of Arman Hassan also, and in between beach you can hear Vayu as well. Music by Tanish Bagchi, lyrics by Kumar for the movie Lucknow Central.
भुला के डांस कर बाकी रप्पे छोड़ दे देसी या फिर डांस कर बाकी रप्पे छोड़ दे
A quick look at what's happening around the world. Paltwani, take it away.
Our neighbors in Canada, Bandujan, are saying no vax, then pay tax. Quebec, Canada's most populous province, is planning to force adults refusing to get the COVID-19 vaccine to pay a health contribution in a move likely to spur a debate about individual rights and social responsibility. Premier Francois Legault told reporters at a briefing on Tuesday that the proposal, details of which are still being finalized, would not apply to those
Who are rich
who
and
cannot
white.
get vaccinated for medical purposes. If they can get vaccinated, then they should be getting vaccinated. Otherwise, they're determining that a significant amount needs to be paid in order for them to be choosing not to be vaccinated. And they're saying it'll definitely be about $100, Canadian $100. In other news, Panajan, there is some news coming up about the apology that Boris Johnson has issued with regard to attending that party, that bring your own booze party at his house. But people are saying that he needs to resign because they're saying that even though he apologized for attending the Downing Street gathering, it was a half-hearted apology.
You know, I tell you what, I think he's going to resign because he looks a lot like Trump. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's easy enough for me. That's a bad statement, right?
Yeah, but just look at the gall of the guy. When there was a shutdown for everybody, he actually hosted this party.
He's
because
a
he got
British
caught.
Trump.
Yeah, that's true.
He's a British Trump. That's it. He's an English a stiff upper lip Trump.
And he says he understands public outrage, and that's why he's sorry.
Huh? So sweet of him.
Yeah.
But he's not sorry though. He's understanding.
Yeah,
sorry.
that's why other ministers are saying that he's just not genuine or heartfelt.
Sometimes I feel like
He's
some
just
politicians
apologizing
are-
because he got caught.
That's true. That's exactly what Trump would do also, right? Come on. Yeah, we know Trump. We've suffered him for 4 years.
He didn't even apologize. Let's not forget that.
Whoa.
He
but
hasn't
thank you for reminding.
apologized for inciting the Jan 6. Don't forget, Panajan.
Yeah,
Just
let's
a
be
year
not-
and a week ago, this
Yeah.
happened.
And of course, it's a dark day in democracy. If
Yeah.
you don't know about that, you just don't care, I suppose, because you're taking your freedom for granted, Balajan. Democracy is a freedom which we have earned. That's why it's a right for you to be voting, right? It's your franchise, right? It's a franchise that you actually get as a privilege to vote. And actions, what they are doing, actually is taking it away from you guys. And if you really want to know why it's important, I think you should listen to some of our shows. We're going to talk about civic responsibility, Panajan. We take it for granted. When you take this for granted, we lose stuff.
Correct.
That's the Ashri Vani for you guys for today. But world news back again.
Well,
What is
for those of you who are just watching us and just joining us, this is Good Morning Bay, and it comes to you every single day right here on Radio De Hotties, Banajan. You can catch this on your apps, on your mobile phones, on Radio De Hotties, iOS and Android, on our YouTube channel, Radio De Hotties. You can also catch it on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Radio De Hotties. And to read the detailed news stories of what we share on air and on our broadcasts, you can actually go to our website, Media Mahima, which is a locally funded non-profit organization, a 501c3 organization that actually carries unbiased news and also brings you the voice of the South Asian community right here in the San Francisco Bay Area. So if you want to get more information, go to mediamahima.com. In other world news, Panjan, Europe is nearer a war than it has ever been in 30 years. Poland's foreign minister warned during the third round of diplomacy this week aimed at diffusing tensions over Russia's demand that Ukraine never be allowed to join the NATO. Addressing envoys from 57 members of the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe, Zbigniew Rao did not name Russia but listed a string of conflicts in which Moscow's involvement had been alleged. It seems that the risk of war in the OC area is now greater than ever before in the last 30 years, he said in a speech outlining his country's priorities as it holds the OSCE's rotating chairmanship this year. Denmark has also accused Russia and China and Iran of an espionage threat, including in the Arctic region where global powers are jostling for resources and sea routes. The Danish Security and Intelligence Service said that there had been numerous examples of attempted spying on Denmark, whose active global role had helped make it a tempting target. The threat from foreign intelligence activities against Denmark, Greenland, and Faroe Islands has increased in recent years. Anders Henriksen, head of counterintelligence at the Danish Security and Intelligence Service, said in a report. Greenland and Faroe Islands, by the way, are sovereign territories under the Kingdom of Denmark and also members of the Arctic Council Forum. Copenhagen handles most of their foreign and security matters. Speaking of threats from China, there's another very huge threat that we've been covering right here on Good Morning Bay as well, Banajan, when it comes to India. China has now accelerated settlement building along its disputed border with Bhutan.
Wow.
With more than 200 structures, including two-story buildings under construction in 6 locations, according to satellite image analysis conducted by Reuters.
Wow, can you imagine? I know Valdez, the way it's going. I know the so-called, I would say, socialistic communist regimes are rallying together and they're really getting active. Maybe Russia or maybe China. They don't seem like they're working in sync, but they are.
It almost seems like
Yeah, and in fact, the talks with India and China, I'm sure you're going to share about that for sure. The third round of talks, nothing came out of it. Nothing came out of Banjan. In fact, only thing that came out of the fact that they're ready to meet again. That's it. So it's imminent. There's going to be something happening in that region.
Well, these images and analysis applied to Reuters by US data analytics firm Hawkeye 360, which uses satellites to gather intelligence on ground level activities, and vetted by 2 other experts, provided a detailed look into China's recent construction along its frontier with Bhutan. There are actually these images, Banajan, and we'll share it on mediamahima.com. You can actually take a look as to which is the disputed area that China is putting illegal settlements in. They're not technically supposed to be building anything there. Construction-related activity at some of these locations along Bhutan's western border has been underway since early 2020, with China initially building tracks and clearing out areas based on material provided by satellite imagery firms Capella Space and Planet Labs, said Chris Biggers, the Mission Applications Director at Hawkeye 360. And they're showing that work has increased and speeded up in 2021. Smaller structures were erected, possibly to house equipment and supplies, followed by the laying of the land foundations and then the construction of buildings. And speaking of how it's going with India, the conversation with India-China talks, there has been no breakthrough in India-China talks on the border row, but next meeting is coming up pretty soon, is what they're saying, because Beijing is showing reluctance to complete troop disengagement at a friction point in eastern Ladakh, while also refusing to discuss steps to defuse the bigger problems at Depsang and Demchok. The 14th round of talks, led by Leh-based 14 Corps Commander Lieutenant General Anindya Sengupta and South Xinjiang Military District Chief Major General Yang Lin, however, resolved to hold the next meeting at the very earliest. And the situation is not very good in India with regard to Omicron. Banajan, Delhi sees the highest one-day rise with 28,867 cases, while good news in Bombay, it sees a dip with only 13,000 cases, active cases of the Omicron. Omicron tally still stands at about 5,488. The death toll, however, climbed up with 4,85,035 people passing away due to COVID. And in a turn of events, the Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the centre is now saying that they chaired a virtual meeting with state chief ministers on Thursday evening, during which Prime Minister Modi stressed on the need to not panic despite a surge in numbers. He also spoke about accelerating the Har Ghar Dastak program to achieve complete vaccination coverage for the entire eligible population. Har Ghar Dastak, that's nice, right? I like his name, actually, what he comes up with.
Narendra Modi, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Well, this is a program that they're actually going door to door to ensure people are vaccinated in India, Banajan. And finally, in Bikaner, there's some really terrible news from West Bengal. The Bikaner-Guwahati Express derailed at Mainaguri, and 5 people have been confirmed dead because of this. So you can get all new information about all of this on mediamahima.com. That's all we have time for on this morning's Good Morning Bay. We'll be back tonight live at 5 on the Pam Pam Show. Till then, enjoy this Gana Banajan and Fikr Bula Ke Dance Kar, and have a terrific Thursday.
थॉमस एडिसन की थ्योरी को याद कर, अरे थॉमस एडिसन की थ्योरी को याद कर, बल्ब जगा दिमाग का टाइम ना बर्बाद कर, थॉमस एडिसन की थ्योरी को याद कर, बल्ब जगा दिमाग का, टाइम ना बर्बाद कर। ये फार्मूला भाई करता जा तू ट्राई, ये फार्मूला भाई करता जा तू ट्राई। बी पॉजिटिव टूटे दिल के पुर्जे पुर्जे जोड़ के, पुर्जे पुर्जे जोड़ के, पुर्जे पुर्जे जोड़ के। फिकर भुला के डांस कर, बाकी रप्पे छोड़ दे।
Hi, this is Farhan Akhtar and you're listening to Radio The Hotties, where the entertainment just keeps getting hotter.